What's going on, Soul Tribe? I salute the divinity in you, and welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and bringing another little nugget to add to the Soul Tribe archive. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Jupiter and Capricorn in the 11th house, and this is an interesting place for Big Papa to be. Now, when you talk about Jupiter, some of the things that Jupiter covers is you can bring about this sense of course, abundance, prosperity. There's a dignity that I think that Jupiter brings as well. This sense of Jupiter broadens our world view, and it really expands and affirms us. And there's a strong element of faith that really too that comes with Jupiter. This recognition that comes there. So yeah, we love Big Papa wherever he happens to be. And then you talk about Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. You know, Saturn has those. But Saturn, I feel like most of all, importantly, gives form, gives structure, where it may feel like you're working with the constraint of things, but if it wasn't for those boundaries, everything would just be formless and nebulous and be all over the place. And then you think about Capricorn, they're the cardinal earth sign, feminine in nature, so there's this receptive quality that comes with Capricorn. And I find that Capricorn energy has the capacity because they work very well with the earth, being an earth sign, the material realm. They are the initiators, like really expert builders for, like, you know, building maybe cities, empires, things like just kind of metaphorical things, but I mean maybe literal things. I mean, why not? But Capricorn, I feel, is about that, or I think is about that long game, the things that you invest in, and that will, you know, that you like taking care of land in a sense. Land is something that you're going to be taking care of indefinitely, but the more that you work with the land, the more that you yield results. And I find that where that Saturnian flavor comes in can really, Capricorn energy, I really think, can build that kind of long-term inheritance and abundance. And then what a great place to build that in, because you're talking about the 11th house. And this is a great house for Jupiter to be in, because this is where Jupiter finds his joy. And when a planet is in joy, it's just where Jupiter can express all of the qualities that he brings to their fullest potential, in a sense. He really has just free reign to work in this house. And this was known in the house of, or in traditional astrology, as the house of good spirit. So the themes that this house covers are going to be like your friends, your friendships, the nature maybe even of those friendships, your acquaintances, associates, benefactors, patrons, your hopes and dreams for the future. This brings about riches, again, prosperity, which is very Jupiterian things. And again, there's that element of like trusting and faith that come into that future. And so when you're thinking about working with this placement, a couple of things to consider. One, you'd have by whole sign to be a Pisces rising. So Jupiter's going to be in charge of one of these houses, because traditionally Jupiter rules over Pisces. Jupiter's going to rule this house, your house of self, and your career house, because that's where Sagittarius would be. And then you're going to want to look to see where Saturn is, because Saturn's going to be in charge where Jupiter is at. And just to see where those themes, where the friends in that 12th house is going to be flowing, where those themes will show up in those Saturnian, or wherever Saturn happens to be. Now, this is an interesting one for Jupiter, where he may be enjoying himself in the themes of the 11th house, but he's in his fall in Capricorn. And I find where a planet maybe, or when a planet is in fall, they have a tendency for maybe more of the lower expressions to come out. So one way that I would, some maybe questions that I would ask a person who would have this, especially being a Pisces rising, is, do you tend to overgive in your friendships? I can think this as someone who, and I don't think that it's necessarily out of that your friends demand this of you or just expect this of you, but I think that there's paying attention to thinking where, if I don't do this thing, that people will stop liking me, or if I don't do this thing, you know. And I think that's where Jupiter, where he can give a lot, that's where his falls in Capricorn, is that he can just overgive, give too much and not receive the same in return, or maybe even have these unrealistic expectations of what people can give, because maybe you're one who can give more than other people can give. So there's that, those questions of reciprocity would be something that is very important, that I think to pay attention in your relationships. However, if you put in that work and do those, and just, be willing to grow in those friendships, 'cause friendships are important. I think that you could really build some very long lasting relationships. And then, when you got those great friends that they introduce you to other people, which expands your world, which gets you in front of, maybe their friends know like you're working on a project. There's like, oh, hey, I just met such and such who can get you in touch with this. So I would say even too, if you find yourself maybe more of an introvert, not to force yourself, but if your friends happen to invite you out to something, be a little adventurous. See where they could take you, because you never know what doors are opening up for you. That being said, with Jupiter being in his fall, be mindful of the people that your friends introduce you to, because they can introduce you to anyone. And if something doesn't feel right, trust that. I'm thinking of a particular situation. It's a double-edged sword with that one. They have good intentions though, but I would say just kind of pay attention to that as well, because maybe if Jupiter has some kind of harsh aspects, maybe from Saturn or from Mars, that there could be just a little bit of trickiness there. So I think another thing too, that maybe where Jupiter could, or where the expansive qualities of Jupiter may be difficult to deal with, is, let's say you have this big hope and this big dream. I think again Capricorn is one that is like similar to Aquarius, that has this visionary. They're the ones that the architects of the world in a sense. And when you're building these big dreams and you're not seeing the immediate progress, maybe this is something that you've been toiling with for a while and a while and a while, and I think it's just, again, enjoying the process. It's not just forcing yourself to suffer through something if you don't like it. And I think that's where something maybe Jupiter could maybe fall into fall into a trap where he's given to something expecting this type of things because other people tells him that he's going to get this thing, as opposed to following the natural process for them. Of course, meeting obstacles along the way, but there are challenges. There's things like, okay, I can level up from this. I just need to learn something else about this. So I think that that's another thing where it may feel difficult at times when you're working towards your goals, but I think the more that you persevere, and this shows you too just what really matters to you, the things that you really want to nurture, and the dreams that really align with you. So that's just something I think to consider there as well. But I think also too, while you're building up your dream, getting into those connective circles, I think networking is an important thing, especially if you do find yourself a bit introverted. Maybe if you can't do like the whole public scenes, maybe as a Pisces rising, the energy is a little too overwhelming, then maybe trying just like the online presence, building a group that way. And considering that Jupiter is ruler of your first and 10th house, that is one last thing I would consider talking about. This is, if not being involved in groups, starting up your own group and seeing how that builds over time. Maybe you have a certain niche thing that you like to do. Maybe you start a Dungeons and Dragons group, maybe start a knitting club, maybe start a book club, whatever that looks like. But I think that in building some sort of community, you can build about different patrons. You're going to make different friends. It's going to be, and they'll introduce you to different spheres and things along those lines. So yeah, don't be afraid to socialize, and yeah, just and learn from your friendships. Those are and from the interactions between like your patrons, benefactors, and things, and and that might be something too. People paying you, expecting you to do. Like that's another thing. Just like that exchange to pay attention to there, but. Otherwise, I like this place. I think this is a very balanced place for Jupiter to be. It's kind of tempered expansion, or kind of like, like there's that boundaries of Saturn, but it's still, you got a pretty good playground to work with, I think, with Jupiter. So, because he's a greater benefic. And if you have a day chart, Jupiter is going to be one that's going to work very well with you. And he'll still work well with you in a night chart too, but he just does better in a day chart. So that's your daytime benefic. But I think that's all I got for you there. So if you happen to have this placement or know someone who's working with this placement, leave a comment down in the description box. And keep in mind, this video was a request from someone. So if you have a placement that you want to go over that I haven't gone over, or want me to go more in depth with the placement that I've already done, please feel free to leave a comment. I'll get those out as quick as possible. So, and also down in the description box is a link for my other channel, the Tarot and Friends, where I talk about the lunar shenanigans and do some tarot readings on there. And also on this channel, you can watch some weekly videos that I do talking about different transits and things along those lines. So, and then there's a link for all the services also down there that I provide if you're wanting to work with these placements more personally. So just some things to think about there. I'm a pretty solid friend, I'd say. I got the moon in the 11th house, so look at that. But until next time, stay mindful out there. Keep raising that vibration through the roof. Hope this was helpful, and I will catch you on the next one later.